Hi guys, this is the original Gata, Monique Dupree. First off, I just want to say that this is an impromptu video and I am in the heart of my house, which means you will hear noise, possibly kids, possibly bumping. But I'm right here and I wanted to be right here because I'm comfortable and I don't know how long I'm gonna be talking to you guys for. So some of you may or may not know that I'm going through, and I've been going through, a medical issue that I never thought could be as serious as it's become for me anyway. I guess each woman is different. So just to recap, because since this is on YouTube, I don't know who knows and who doesn't know. But I've heard it referred to as a mass, a fibroid, whatever it is. It's a foreign entity in my uterus, and nobody caught it in its early stages. So right now it's really huge, to the point where it has my stomach pressed completely out. It makes me look pretty much like I'm about 4 months pregnant or so. And when I went to the doctor, I thought, okay, well, I found this out at the ER, by the way. From first, I started out passing out when I was traveling, flying. I was even with Tommy Dreamer once when I passed out, twice actually, when I passed out on the plane. I thought that it was a neurology issue. And so I had all of these neurology appointments and whatnot. And then one day I could not use the bathroom. I couldn't urinate. And it got so bad, I had to go to the ER. I'd never had any issues like that. And I'm a fairly young woman, so I had no idea what was going on. And that's when the hospital ran multiple tests and found out that I had this huge mass, and it's leaning on my right kidney, and it's also on my bladder. So it stops me from a little bit of everything. It's been, causing nothing but problems. So now I can match all of the little issues that I was having previously with no known explanation to this one thing right here that's been slowly tearing my body down from the inside out, is the best way I can describe it. So I've been in and out of emergency rooms, urology appointments, gynecology appointments, my regular doctor since November. Early November is when I found out. And whether you know it or not, I work in wrestling. I'm also an actress. So most of what I do requires travel, requires physical activity, especially when it comes to wrestling. And these are things that was suggested to me to not do if I didn't want to seriously injure myself, and or if I travel, they don't know how severe the passing out will be, and all of that kind of stuff. So it was recommended that I don't travel, which means, okay, how do I work? I don't work a 9 to 5 where I just go to this local job and what have you. So it left me with nothing, because if most entertainers who are not SAG anyway, and wrestlers especially, we don't have health insurance as performers. So the insurance that I do have is very crappy insurance, and I've been fighting with that to try to get some kind of help. I've since been put on wait list, and they're trying to get me a surgery date, because let me backtrack. When I did go to my first GYN appointment since this had happened, they ran a bunch of tests. They gave me another in-depth ultrasound. They did this black dye thing. I know you guys know what that is, and the scanner and whatnot. And they told me that uh, that this fibroid or what have you is so big that there's there's no simple way of taking care of it. They can't do the lesser operations where they can just break it up or what have you. One of the major things being they don't know if it's cancerous. They tried to do a biopsy, a sample of the tissue, and the mass is so big that they were unable to do that. So they don't know the status of that. So they definitely can't go. I think they call it morselization. They can't break it up on the inside because if it's cancer, it'll spread throughout, my body there, and I won't know until after everything is all said and done. So she said the only thing that she could suggest is a hysterectomy, which, if you know me, and I am a mom of 10, and for the people that don't make the snide comments and the, stupid jokes and what have you, you know that that's always been important to me. No matter what anybody has said, I never felt like anytime I got pregnant that it was an accident or I shouldn't or I'm too old or it's too this or it's too that. I'm a true mother in the sense that I believe that if it happens for a reason and you deal with it. That's what you do. And that's what I've always done. And I have 10 beautiful children to show for it. But it devastated me finding out that I would have to get a hysterectomy. Then knowing that I went all this time without, any surgeries or what have you, as far as like any of that kind of stuff. And now I have to get cut because, because they have to. And because it's so big, they said, well, they'll have to, cut across. They can't guarantee anything once I'm under. So irregardless, I have to have surgery. So I've been fighting to get a surgery date because I'm not currently working, my regular job, which is what brings me my income. So it's been rough because I've been home for the better part of a month, and they're saying that they don't really see an open appointment for me until spring. Well, that's just not acceptable because I refuse. I've been working since I'm 13. I refuse to be out of work from now until spring. I can't do it. I don't want to put my life or my body on the line, but I also refuse to lose my home and, things with the kids in order to do that. So I've been pushing her because I've been in and out of the ER. Because when I cannot go to the bathroom, I get rushed to the emergency room and then they have to use a catheter. So this is becoming a big issue. The urologist gave me medicine that started to work, but he told me it would be a Band-Aid on the problem. And lo and behold, it went right back to the way it was. So the way I have to function now is that every hour on the hour, I have to go use the restroom so that I don't risk my bladder getting too full and that I can't go. So that's a huge issue. I don't know how many of you have ever not been able to use the bathroom on your own, but let me tell you, I would rather be having babies. It's bad because you have no control over it. You feel like you're going to burst from the inside. So that's, one of the bigger things. They also don't want it to grow so bad that it's pushing on my kidney too much. So far, my kidney functions are okay. But if it starts to decline, then that becomes a problem. So basically, as long as this stays in me, the problem gets worse. So my thinking is, okay, if you know that, why are you making me wait all of this time? And it's, well, the insurance company and the surgeons are booked up and, with your insurance, we blah, blah, blah. I keep hearing the word with my insurance, and some of the medications they don't approve. So I couldn't get stuff that may work in the meantime. And when they're saying something like $135 for a bottle of something for a month, and you're no longer employed and you're trying to just pay your bills, that's a lot of effing money. So my doctor called me today because the way the steps are going is that I have to have an ultrasound next Thursday for them to remeasure, because they know that it's gotten bigger because they measured my stomach. I've gained 13 pounds with this. And I can't drink a lot of water because then my bladder fills up a little bit faster. And then, hey, I'm off to the hospital again. So I have the ultrasound appointment for that. And then my doctor calls me today and says, hey, I talked to the surgeons today and they have something that they may be able to use for you in the meantime. Let me make sure I get this right because I'm not really big on this stuff. Lupron. This is one of the reasons why I'm coming to you guys, YouTube, my people. I know that a lot of people have had a lot of different experiences, and maybe some of you women have gone through, having a large fibroid or having similar experiences. Maybe you can share with me. I would appreciate it if you would, because right now I am at a total loss, and I spend a lot of nights crying about what am I going to do? What is going to be the next step? But when she told me that what they could try to do is give me this Lupron, which in effect is all she said to me was, it's an injection and it's basically like putting you into menopause. And she said the only thing is that you may have like hot flashes and mood swings. And I said, well, cool, I could deal with that. And she said, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to approve it. It's going to take a couple of weeks to go through this approval process. So now I have to wait 2 weeks just to find out if they would approve me being able to take this. And so I'm just gung-ho, like you guys have, a solution in the meantime, because she said, well, it may shrink your fibroid and take some pressure off of your kidney and your bladder until we can operate. And, so she explained that to me. That was all the explanation of the side effects. So me being the person that I am, I decided, well, let me research it. Let me read other people's experiences. There's always going to be bad and good, so you never really know. But when I read some of the things that has happened to a lot of women, there was a message board with quite a few women that said that their bones got brittle. One woman limps for the rest of her life because it steals your bone density. So it's not only the hot flashes and, the mood swings and all of these other things. Like I was reading about it. It just seemed like such the answer. But in reading some of this, I'm so very skeptical and very scared because some of the side effects are things that I don't feel like, how do you get back? Like, how do you, once your bones are like that, how do you get it back? I mean, I don't know. I know that the common ones, nausea, diarrhea, upset stomach, tiredness, night sweats, hot flashes, but reading some of these women's stories on these boards, I haven't read a positive story yet, so I'm coming to YouTube in hopes that somebody could help me in some form of fashion. It's been really difficult. Again, the medicine is called Lupron, Lupron. I don't know if that's its generic name. But that's what my doctor said. These side effects of these injections that they don't tell you, and somebody wrote in their state, I have to go back and see what state they're in, but they said in their state, the form she signed did not even inform her of the more in-depth things that can happen, you know, when it says, well, this only happens to a select amount of people, but this can happen. Well, she said that she signed something that, you know, didn't state any of that. So I'm going to go back and speak with my doctor, but I figured I would come to the worldwide audience for if anybody has any experience or any knowledge about this, too, that may help me to be able to make a more informed decision, because right now I am really scared shitless. And I mean, I've had a GoFundMe, and I've gotten so many mean and cruel comments like, you know, you have 10 kids and you know, you want us to care whether you die or not. And, you know, it's called birth control, and, you know, just so many different things. One guy recently said, I find it hard that you've had 10 children and you don't have health care. It's like, that had to be the dumbest comment that I've ever read before in my life. I didn't say I don't have health care. I said I have shitty health care, which I'm sure a lot of people share that, you know, with me. But I just don't know what to do at this point. I call my doctor's office all the time. My doctor, my GYN doctor, is in a clinic. So it's like when you call, you never know who you're going to speak to. And then they rotate. So there's all these different people. But I put my foot down recently and said, listen, I need to deal with one person. So I'm not having to update this person on what that doctor said. And then I have to fill you in on that and then let you know what my issues are. I need to speak to one of you. This issue is not a regular issue. They even said they brought in students because they hadn't seen what I'm dealing with before in their clinic. Not to this extent. You know, sometimes it's a bunch of, you know, smaller ones, but I have one huge one that's just pressing, you know, my stomach outward. And if it were just that where it's just, you know, my stomach is pushed out, even though I worked so hard to lose 71 pounds and I worked out every day. And now anytime I try to work out, I cramp, you know, heavily. It's so painful because it's sitting right there at the bottom of my stomach. So I can't do, anytime I try to do something core, it's painful. And most things are core exercises, comes from the core. So this has just been hell, and I'm not sure what to do. I called about a second opinion, and that doctor's appointment is a month away. So I can't even get a second opinion any sooner. It's like nobody's wanting to entertain doing anything until February. And then what if I get this shot and it makes one thing better but another thing worse? What if it makes my bones brittle? What if it caused some other adverse, you know, reaction, because my body is already sensitive right now because of all of this? I just don't know. But then if I don't take the shot, I can't try to, you know, have it to shrink in the meantime until the surgery. Ideally, I would love for somebody to call me up tomorrow and go, hey, we're going to do your surgery in a couple of days. Let's get you prepped. And that's coming from somebody. I don't want a hysterectomy. I never wanted a hysterectomy. But I also want my life, and I want my life as I know it back. So they're telling me that it's the only way right now with what I'm dealing with. So if that's the only way and I have to get it, then let's do this. What's taking so long? I really don't understand it. And the only thing I could do is continue to make calls and continue to fight. I told them I'm running out of money to run to the doctor every week, all of these different doctors. The urologist said, hey, I'm not even making you another appointment because the medicine that I gave you is not working anymore. And I already told you it just puts a band-aid on the problem anyway. So there's nothing else that can really be done from the urologist end. And he put all of these notes in, and he said, you really need surgery ASAP. This is my urologist saying that. But again, I'm not the surgeon, so I can't. I've been trying to force people to do so. It's just really been hell. And then, my kids have to watch me suffer each and every day. We had a New Year's gathering. We always have a New Year's party, but we had a small one this time because I didn't know how I was going to be feeling. And I also really didn't have the money for it. So we said, okay, we're going to have this, but everybody has to bring something in order for this to work, or it's just going to be a bunch of people with essentially nothing. So everybody was great. They brought stuff. After everybody left, boom, middle of the night, there I am at the ER because I can't go to the bathroom again. So it doesn't wait for any specific time, or it's not like this is a holiday, so I'm going to let you slide or what have you. It just happens when it happens. And I just need this to be over. And if anybody has any advice to offer up, or if you've been through this before, or if you know someone who's been through this before, that maybe they can watch the video and offer up some advice, or a way that I can continue to go over somebody's head, because I just keep calling places, but I keep getting the runaround. And I'm at my wit's end, basically. And now they're suggesting something that could be good, but then I'm reading all of this stuff of how bad it is too. I'm sure that it's helped people, but what are my chances that it's going to make the situation worse? So that's my real big question about this Lupron that I know nothing about, that I eagerly said, she sold me something so great. So I eagerly said, yes, please go try to get this prescription approved. There's no guarantee that it'll even get approved. And then if it doesn't get approved, I'm right back at square one, just waiting for my opportunity to have this operation. And they really said, we have to wait for cancellations. We're taking bookings for the middle to end of March right now. And she said, I know this is serious, and the longer you wait, the more serious it's going to get, but it's out of my hands. Oh my God. How frustrating is that? I just don't understand that entire thing. At least you could say, well, hey, I'm going to refer you to this other doctor personally. Why don't you try talking to them? Maybe their surgery team could fit you in quicker or what have you. Nothing. It's just, I have to wait. I talk to the surgeons every Thursday, and I try to get you fitted in, but they just said it's the same situation and nobody has canceled. So since no one is canceled, you can't be seen yet. So this is, I'm just trying to stay strong, basically. And I don't know what else to do at this point. I've been trying to find creative ways for me of making money from home. So I started a Patreon account. I've been trying to push selling my, autographs and my DVDs of, my acting and wrestling and everything, just to try to be creative and not just rely on the GoFundMe, because that took a group of people to push me, because the people closest to me that knows me knows that I don't ask for help. I don't. Whatever you want to call it, whatever reason, is cool. But I don't, because I believe in doing everything myself. This is one of the first times in my adult life that I find myself completely and utterly helpless. And I don't like that feeling, and I'm gonna have to take that shit back because I can't keep operating like this. But I also don't want you guys to see me on the news that I done went and held up a hospital because I'm like, you're gonna do this surgery. I'm trying to keep my wits about myself. I'm trying to stay positive, but I'm also trying to be demanding at the same time, with these doctors and these clinics and such. But I can only do what I can do. So if you guys have any comments, any suggestions, any things that may have worked for you, any suggestions on this medication, because I'm really curious about that as well, please feel free to share with me. I will be waiting, and I'm sorry that this video is so freaking long, but there was so much I had to catch you up on, so I hope you're caught up now, and I will come back with a follow-up video once I've read and listened to some stuff from you guys so that I can let you know which way I'm going to try to go with this. In the meantime, thank you for watching and thank you for listening.